And here we go again, right? Continue. This is gonna be the second part.
Somewhere in Jamrock North, a small wood shed behind Rosencrantz Row, Lieutenant Nick Feuerbach puts his hand to the chest of a small corpse, no larger than a monkey. It's raining outside, light drizzle. There is darkness in the shed. Elsewhere yet, an obese female sits in a wicker chair, her silhouette ball-like against the window. Outside, Grand Coudon. The day is turning dim for Sergeant Mac Dawson. Hand extended, he approaches, to make sure she is dead more than anything else. The building is tall, 7 stories wind-wrapped in solitude. Most of the apartments are unoccupied. This was a suicide. The other, an accident. The small one. And so, all across Jamrock, Coal City, GRIH, 42 deceased persons found today. 42 stations of breath.
We should start the post-mortem.
Turn the page.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer why.
1. External examination. Summary.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodine, I think. Let's see.
He turns the body onto the side to check the underwear label.
See, it's happening.
Babrodine, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
Right down.
The boots are ceramic, vitreous enamel. They are fused to his skin from blood flowing downward post-mortem. Removal of the boots is left for processing. The boot has a serial number. It's E50.100.100. The lines between the plates are in the shape of the alphanumerical. The number is purposefully concealed by the design. Tattoos.
He stands up, feet planted on either side of the body.
The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo resembling a microelectronical circuit board. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene using a Trigat Mini.
He means me. I have a picture he took earlier.
The deceased has a belt for airlifting cargo around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color yellow. Length 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end.
Write it down.
Well nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age 42. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature below freezing. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
Don't go to say before moving on.
The hair under your latex fingers feels cold to touch, wet.
Still say it gently.
The stench is suffocating. Strands of dark brown hair start sticking to the latex of the glove, like thread off a rag doll's head.
Kim's gonna get mad at me. Look.
There must be brilliantine in there. He's combed his hair back with oil.
Write it down, add into Valentine.
Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs. Consistent with stones thrown post-mortem. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity. You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max. Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest. Consistent with predation.
Write down payment for high velocity.
Ligature mark.
The lieutenant produces a small folding knife. With the other hand pulling on the belt, he starts cutting into the polyester. The stench is horrid. After a while, it's obviously material cannot be cut.
The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the belt so we can get to the ligature mark.
Yeah, we got
You've
tools.
got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters.
Oh yeah, I'm prepared.
The hanged man lets out a joyous little bubble of rot from his nose.
It's a good thing that I got these chain cutters. And I pull them out.
Always good to think ahead. Now,
Continue.
we need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark below. Carefully, with as much precision as you can.
See? My pig is gonna fuck his head off.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
Look for a good spot to cut.
The belt is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread rising from the yeast. The knot is the weak spot. The chain cutters fit in there, steady now, like a flower arranger. 2 cuts and it should come loose. After some deliberation, you sink the cutters into the knot tying the belt together. You squeeze the rubber handles together, sweat forming on your brow.
Press down.
Snap! The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck.
The lieutenant has kneeled closer, running his finger along the dark red groove until there's a gap.
As it ought to. This is where its grip on the curdled meat is gentlest, pulling up.
Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters.
I write it down.
Chest is intact, normal contour. Abdomen is protuberant, pelvis intact, genitalia.
He pulls down the man's underpants.
No! It's gonna happen, see?
I fucking knew it!
Continue.
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury.
Inspect him.
The dead man's penis is average-sized, congested from the downward collection of blood. The testicles are uneven in length, hanging underneath. The genitalia is greenish. Marbling is present around the crotch. You should touch it. Doesn't feel like anything. A cold spot under your gardening gloves. Unremarkable and unalive.
My pig's so fucking ill right now.
His voice swells with pride.
Oh, your pig's pretty sick, I gotta say.
Write down and move on.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are all combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip.
Bullets have bitten little pieces out of him. It must have been excruciating, especially the hip. Before you is a temple of pain that knew little tenderness in life.
Ah shit, sorry, my phone just went off.
In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin.
From wounds sustained over 2, maybe more decades, dispersal and accumulation indicates long and active combat duty.
Right down.
Last item, hands.
He takes the man's right hand in his, inspects it, then moves on to the other hand. Pick up the hand.
The hand feels heavy, filled with decay liquids, like it's ready to explode if squeezed hard enough. You're suddenly repulsed, so much so you feel compelled to drop it.
Hands are clean. No sign of injury from struggling.
We're respecting it. Well, yeah.
I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hard for me to think at the moment. Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next?
Internal examination. Summary.
Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
Of course, there is a moral to be drawn from it. A moral to this story.
What would that be?
He looks at you inquisitively.
The dead man looks, too, with barely contained excitement to hear the moral of his story.
The brain is very vulnerable to compromise since blood supply.
I think that may well be the moral of every story, officer.
Alright, NA.
Good. Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
He gets close to the mouth hole, eyes squinting from the stench. Not injury, eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips, black and viscous. You hear cracks as the lieutenant moves his sharp fingers inside the flesh, like the creaking of an old house at night.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable. Respiratory system.
Back hunched, as if in prayer, he begins to pry open the dead man's jaws. He stops to exert more force. Both hands are used.
Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen. Hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth.
Look inside the dead man's mouth.
No scream, no sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there. Sickly sweet air, unlike anything living. You feel like you're about to throw up again, straight in that mouth of his.
No, I'm not.
No, you don't. You can keep it in. You can keep anything in.
Look deeper inside.
You manage to suppress the contractions trying to enter your stomach.
Why can't I
All
see
it
anything?
takes is concentration. Through it, you see nothing but darkness. More meat and darkness.
Fuck.
Hemorrhaging present in mucus.
The lieutenant repeats impatiently. He lets go of the jaws. The mouth snaps shut before you. Look inside again.
No scream, no sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's no, you don't. You can keep. You manage.
Yeah, nothing.
Hemorrhaging
It's not
present
there.
in
Let me
mucus.
write it down.
Hepatobiliary. NA.
Why don't we have anything?
Are you a hepatobiliary expert?
I don't think so.
Neither am I.
That's it?
That's it.
NA.
Same for toxicology and serology. NA.
Both? We don't know what he was on, or
Unless you
if he
have
took.
untapped reservoirs of knowledge there.
Reservoirs? No, but do they take obscure trivia and odd tidbits?
No.
The completion in me wonders if there's something we could still do.
Like a toxicology
Yes,
screening?
of course.
At this stage, I doubt processing will find anything, even if he was brimming with cocaine. But still, you should add a request.
Do you see track marks on his arms? I mean, does he look like... was he an alcoholic? Was he a fucking... his nose. I mean, I don't know. Like... lividity... like, I mean, the eyes. Like, jaundice. I mean, anything. I don't fucking know. He's,
With cocaine.
his septum. Did he have a septum? I mean, was it damaged? Shit like that, I don't know, man. Right, NA and a toxicology requested.
Cardiovascular.
It's frustrating,
The
man.
body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the hands, feet, and neck. Hypostasis is visually consistent with the hanging.
Right.
Gastrointestinal.
He breathes a sigh of approach and relief. This is last field on the list. He looks around to the ground at the pool of feces there. Because, of course, when he was hanging, the corpse purged, right? So all he evacuated everything that was in intestines at the beginning of the game.
This will do.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila.
Like half a kilogram. He touches the corpse's bloated lower abdomen briefly. Write it down. Keep the voila.
What's next on the list?
Number 3. Description of injuries. Summary.
Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 fields. Leave a 4th one too.
What's the fourth one? What's the fourth one for?
Nothing. Just in case.
Okay. Well, number 1, bite marks.
Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body.
Okay.
Odontologist does not need to be consulted.
Write it down.
And your opinion, officer?
Non-fatal post-mortem.
Agreed. Next injury?
Number 2, contusions.
So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
Kuno.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Write that.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath, the description of injury. 2 boxes.
Non-fatal post-mortem.
Right. Next.
Number 3, ligature mark.
A dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured, the cervical column intact. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck.
Write it down.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible.
I said non-fatal post-mortem. I know, he doesn't agree with me. He thinks it was hanging. I think he was dead before they hanged him.
Why do you say that?
He tilts his head. I'm serious, I don't think this was the injury that killed him, man. I think he was dead before they hanged him.
Okay. Why don't you think it was fatal?
Why weren't his hands tied? A big man like this. I will tie his hands when marching him to the others.
Honestly, I'm not sure there weren't marks on his wrist. That part got blurry for me. The stench. But you are right, I was ready to call this. Now I think we should leave it empty, at least for the time being. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over.
He produced a small black plastic roll from his jacket, a body bag. Okay. First, how did it go?
It was an irregular field autopsy. We did not establish cause of death, which is supposed to be the goal of an autopsy.
Yeah,
but
come on.
Personally, I do not see this as a parameter for success.
I don't think that he fucking suffocated, dude. I don't.
We also requested a toxicological screening. That was
I don't think he died of a broken neck from it. No, I think he was hung after they killed him.
If we are lucky. I will not hold my breath. Then, given the state of decay here, I consider establishing the victim's ethnicity a minor success.
Kim's pissed at me, huh?
We were thorough with the list of injuries too. We described them all in detail. What is there to say? Given the circumstances, it was a professional field autopsy.
We're missing something.
Oh yeah, well done, Master Detective. Maybe a drink is in order?
Perhaps the drink's in order? Later, I mean.
Now, you see, that worries me.
What?
You will die if you drink. You know that, don't you? You are proving a useful detective. The organization would miss you.
Yeah, but I'm an alcoholic, Kim. If I don't drink, I'm gonna get the shakes and then I'm useless. Then I get delirium tremens and I'm like, fuck that, dude. What now then?
I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg.
Rip out a copy of the autopsy pages.
For processing.
He looks at the dead man one more time, then at the slip of red paper in his hand, then at the corpse again.
You tilt your head, also looking at the corpse. I'm sure we didn't get everything. There's always something.
Oh, fuck. Hold on a second. Shit. What else can we use? Tell me something then, man.
Shoot, Looney Rooney.
Nothing. Nothing.
Come back later, Corporal. Amuse yourself with my frank
please,
manners and
people
my
from the future, help me.
memento mori features.
58%. Here
if
we go.
possible, also, see.
Your arm reaches out and your eyes close, as if by their own volition. It's dark all around. You feel cold, dead flesh through the latex glove. It's right under the palm of your hand.
Oh, fucking shivering. Okay, here we go. What is this?
His face, his cheeks, his nose, his fat, swollen lips. Like a rubber spider, your gloved hand crawls on his features. Everything is silent, all around.
Crawl up his nostrils. Yeah.
They are swollen shut. You need to really push to get in.
Push your fingers in his nose.
Only the little one fits. The flesh changes shape as you bore in, searching for something in the cartilage.
The fuck is he doing?
You hear a voice squeak. It sounds very far away.
The thing you're looking for, it's not there. Crawl out, spider.
Put your fingers in his mouth.
The oral cavity is cold and moist. A ball-like tongue attaches itself to the base of the mouth, lolling around like a scallop.
Clearly it feels right.
The tongue moves freely in the cavity. The mucus of the mouth is slippery, fragile, even through the latex. From the soft meat, teeth are budding. Hard pearls of bone in the gums and in the back of the mouth. Can you feel it? You're so close. Rip his jaws open now. Look in.
Open your eyes and look.
A vision of black and dark red death, pried open by your hands and studded with teeth. Looks like he's laughing. Death fumes rising from his throat. And there, in the back of his mouth, above the bell of the uvula, right in the soft palate, you see a hole, barely visible to the human eye.
I knew
It
it.
is swollen shut, almost vanished. No larger than 0.4 centimeters in radius, the edges appear darkened.
Look, Oliver.
An abrasion collar. This is what we're after.
Say fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
Kuno nods, too. He takes a step closer.
Touch it with your finger, gently.
A black trickle of liquid runs into his throat from the wound.
Put your finger in it.
Your index fits right in there. A tight tunnel of flesh opens up. Tissue damage. Wide enough for 2 fingers.
Fucking knew
As you
it.
push both in, you reach through his mouth, right into his brainstem.
The fuck is happening?
Ah, shit, see?
Feel around first.
The basal ganglia feels clumpy. What entered here has torn apart his reptilian complex. This man will never sleep again, never wake. The funk soul brother at the back of his head has gone dark forever.
Push deeper.
Your yellow fingers slide into the remains of the limbic system. There is no resistance. It's gelatinous. The slug-like structures are damaged too. The tearing extends deep into both hemispheres.
There's a cavity. Cut right between the hemispheres.
The lieutenant answers with the sound of his pen on paper.
Fucking cavity, see?
Kuno's voice is hushed. Push deeper.
Your fingers are all the way in now, reaching toward the inside of his skull. The cavity goes further, but the entry wound isn't wide enough for the rest of your hand to follow. All the muscles in your body harden. Time to enter him.
Wriggle in.
Your fingers reach toward his skull. His cerebral cortex feels like jelly. Cold jelly. Strange fluid streams down your wrist as you push deeper until you feel it on the tip of your finger. Ice cold serrated metal. Its edges cut right through the latex and into your finger. The pain is barely noticeable under the adrenaline rush.
I feel a solid object right onto the skull.
Can you get to it?
Inspect it.
There's a tiny crack, a protrusion in the cranium, right in the back of his head. Your finger must be pointing straight at it, from the inside.
Okay.
The object that is in there stops just short of the skull, in the encephalus, knocking this tiny fracture into the cranium.
We have the makings of a very small exit wound here.
The lieutenant leans closer.
Forget about the fucking exit wound, Beano. The pig is wearing him like a fuck puppet.
Okay. Fish it out.
You pick the object between your index and middle finger. Feels sharp, like metal. You press your teeth together. Your jaw is clenched. All you need to do is just...
Slowly pull your fingers out.
The inside of the head feels cold and smooth, like a glove. Sweat dripping down your brow. Careful not to lose the prize between your fingers. With a plop, your hand emerges from the mouth. The garden glove is covered in blood right up to the wrist. Between your fingers, a small flower. A blossom made of lead.
Fucking beautiful.
A bullet.
The lieutenant puts a small bag marked evidence under it. And they drop it in.
The bullet falls in the bag, leaving a smattering of blood on the plastic. He raises the bag under his eyes and says,
A non-calibre. Rifled. Some kind of brittle alloy. Fractured on impact.
Yeah.
Of course, you deserve it. We need to add an item to the injury list. Injury number 4. Oval entry wound with an abrasion color. Soft palate,
good call,
back of
Kim.
mouth. High velocity. Temporary cavity in brain tissue. Small exit wound on the occiput. How does that sound?
He underlines the injury firstly. Sounds alright.
Opinion, fatal injury.
Goddamn right.
And one last thing. We can now fill in injury number 3. Ligament mark. Opinion, non-fatal. Post-mortem. Treatment.
he's proposing the bullet was the real cause of death, and the hanging an attempt to conceal this fact.
The ligament mark, the fractured hyoid bone, everything was treatment.
Yes, and the belt around his neck.
Yeah.
The hanging. Even
Everything.
dragging him to the yard.
See?
All of it was done after
Fucking knew
this
it.
man was already dead.
Agreed.
I have had my doubts since you showed me the tracks. Why did they carry him over? Why not march him, I thought.
Right.
There was no satisfying explanation.
Mm-hmm.
There have been other signs too. Small things. We were right not to assign hanging as cause of death, as the perpetrators expected we would. No such luck for them.
Goddamn right, partner. Fuck yeah.
There is, of course, the very real possibility he was both shot and hanged.
Yeah, but it's... Come on, man. Maybe shot him while they hang. Yeah, but still, that would have been the... No, I think I'll go with that. So... Who would do this?
That's for us to find out. But this, it will make finding them just a little easier.
Why would anyone do this?
To hide something. The real killer? The real motivation? What really happened here?
I think I need to wash myself.
Oh, you really, really do. I am glad to hear you say that. Your room in the Whirling in Rags should come with a bathroom. Be sure to make use of it in the evening.
Yeah, if I can even pay for it tonight, I don't have money. Look, I have 1 real, real 50, real 47, that's it. I need 100 to stay here. I'll probably stay out in the streets tonight. Maybe the bullet holds more answers.
Yes, we should take a closer look at it. I am certain it has more to tell us.
This little thing could reveal much about the weapon that shot it.
What happens next?
We bag the corpse and carry him to the holding pen of my kinema. I can transport him to processing myself, but I will be gone for the rest of the day.
You'll be gone. What should I do in the meanwhile?
Work on the case. Tend to personal matters. Try not to do anything too dangerous. An officer needs backup in a neighborhood like this. I'll leave that choice to you. And one more thing. Great work, detective.
After you bag the corpse, Lieutenant Kitsuragi will leave the party until tomorrow morning. You can do side tasks and even the main case, but it might be more difficult. Plan his exit accordingly.
Let's bag him. Take him away.
Alright.
He takes out a shiny black body bag and starts pulling the plastic over the dead man's face.
I will need a little help carrying him. You take the hands, I'll take the legs.
Bag the corpse and drag it to the motor carriage. Holy shit, boys. That was fucking intense. Fuck yeah.